I want to share. Here it says I have 144 games, but they're not all games. But I'm sure over 100. I'll kind of briefly just talk about some of them, just go through them. A Fisherman's Tale, I haven't beat it. It's a PSVR game. Every game that you see that has the headset on it is a PSVR game. You can see the headset on the Fisherman's Tale. It's a puzzle game, and I haven't beat it. I could probably easily beat that sometime. I should do that soon. A Way Out is an escape from prison game. I haven't played it. It's supposed to be like a two-player game. I've always wanted to play it with somebody else in person, and that hasn't happened yet, so hopefully sometime. Abzu was free. I don't really know much about that game, honestly. Accounting Plus, another VR game, I think made by some of the people of Rick and Morty, and it was really small game, really quick, which a lot of the PSVR games are, but I thought it was funny, and so I have that. Alvo, I need to play that more. That's the online shooter for the PSVR. Apex Construct, I haven't touched that yet. It's kind of another shooting game for the PSVR, but you use like bow and arrow and you fight against robots. Arizona Sunshine, you fight against zombies. It's PSVR, it's the aim controller. This is just the soundtrack that came with the DLC. I bought DLC for more stages, which I haven't played yet, but I beat this game. Astrobot, I beat the main game, but there's a lot that I have to unlock. I think it's one of the best PSVR games that there is. It's a platformer, kind of like Mario 64, basically. Batman VR, I beat that. It's really short. Battlezone VR, I haven't beat that yet, but it's a really awesome game where you're in a tank blowing stuff up, and I need to beat that. Beat Saber, it's pretty. Everybody knows what that is. Blood and Truth, it's kind of like a James Bond shooting type game for the VR, like an action movie. It's pretty awesome. I haven't beat it yet. I'm probably close to the end. I should beat that sometime. Bloodborne, I haven't touched it. It's supposed to be a dark game, or a hard game like Dark Souls. It's a really popular game that's like supposed to only be on the PlayStation. I have it, but I haven't touched it. Borderlands 2 VR, kind of self-explanatory. Borderlands 3, I have that for the PS4. Carly and the Reaper Man, it's like a two-player VR game where someone uses the headset and someone plays on the screen. And it's basically a platformer where one person plays the Grim Reaper and the other person plays Carly. Carly has to get to the destination or whatever, but there's like gaps and stuff, and so the Grim Reaper has to fill in the gaps and kind of help out how to get there and everything. Catch and Release, a PSVR fishing game, is pretty cool. Haven't beat it yet. Concrete Genie, I've been interested in it. It has some VR features, but it's mostly not VR. But I haven't touched it. I really need to put that in and try that out. Control, another game, I haven't touched it. It's not a VR game, but it's pretty popular. I know the main character is a female. She like moves stuff with her mind. The game looks really cool. Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, the 3 original Crash games in high def. I'd love to go through those. Crash 4, I haven't beat that. Crisis VR, or Crisis Brigade 2, another shooter game for the PSVR that is more of like an arcade style shooter. Cyberpunk 2077. Everybody probably knows what that is. I've played that. I've got videos of that. Days Gone. Haven't played that yet. It's supposed to be one of PlayStation's big games. When it came out, it had a lot of glitches and stuff, just like Cyberpunk. But you're fighting basically like zombies or monsters where there's like tons of them on the screen and you're like running from them. Dead Rising, a zombie game. Dead Rising 2, sorry. Pretty popular. Death Stranding, I've played that game. I need to beat that game. Love that. Detroit Become Human. I beat that. It's a game where you go through and make choices, and there's different characters, and you can always have different outcomes. It's futuristic. They're basically like androids, and it's awesome. Detroit, or Deus Ex, Mankind Divided. I haven't played that yet. Futuristic shooter game with stealth. It's supposed to be really cool. Devil May Cry 5. I haven't beat that. Dick Wild 2, another shooting game for the PSVR where you're shooting fish in the water. That's pretty cool. I've got some gameplay footage of that. Dirt Rally, a racing game that's also in VR. Doom VFR, the Doom VR game. Dreams, a game where people make their own games online, and there's also VR games that they make. Drive Club VR, specifically racing games specifically for VR, as far as I know. Dynasty Warriors 8 Extreme Legends Complete Edition. I've always thought these were cool, but I haven't beat this or anything. But the whole thing is that you're kind of like a samurai and you're fighting like tons of people on the screen at the same time. Enter the Gungeon, a randomly generated dungeon shooter, basically where you see the characters. It's like an old pixel art style. Okay, ESPN, it's an app. Counts these apps. Everybody's Golf VR game. Fall Guys, Ultimate Knockout, online competition. Fallout 4, Farpoint is a PSVR shooter. Final Fantasy VII Remake, got that. Fire Pro Wrestling World, old school looking kind of wrestling game. It's not, it's kind of like cartoonish graphics. Firewall 0 Hour online shooter for PSVR. Five Nights at Freddy's, VR Help Wanted. Ghost Giant, already beat that on VR. Ghost of Tsushima, I haven't beat that, but that's one of the major games for the PlayStation also. Samurai game. Ghostbusters, the video game, remastered, I haven't beat that. God of War, I haven't beat that, haven't played it at all. Gran Turismo Sport, racing game, it's also in VR. Guilty Gear, Xrd, Rev 2, awesome, crazy Asian fighting game. I've got some gameplay footage of that. Hitman 3, it's playable in VR. Horizon Zero Dawn, haven't touched it at all, but it's a game that I really want to beat. Another game that's popular, PlayStation exclusive. Hotel R&R, VR game where you trash the hotel rooms. Hulu is an app. Immortal Legacy, I beat that game, and you can see all that on the channel. It's a VR game. I love that game. Injustice 2, fighting game with DC characters, Batman, Superman. Injustice, Gods Among Us, Ultimate Edition. So do I have 1 and 2? I didn't know that I had that. Maybe I do. Job Simulator, VR game. It's funny. It's awesome. Journey, that was free. Don't know much about that one. Journey to the Savage Planet. My cousin told me to get this. We could play it online. We never have. I haven't touched it. Judgment is related to the Yakuza games. I really want to play that. So it's got fighting and exploration in the city, I think, and stuff, kind of like Shenmue, but a lot more serious, where I think you're like a detective. And another game that I need to play. Killing Floor Incursion, a VR shooting game. I've played a little bit of that on here. I haven't beat it. Lego Harry Potter. Little Big Planet 3. I've never really played any of the Little Big Planets, so I picked that one up, but I haven't touched it yet. Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. Classic games, which this is the one that most people don't like because it's 3D, and usually the Marvel vs. Capcom was always like a animated cartoon style. But I did like, I like the characters that they have in this. They have Venom, and they have the Nemesis, which was a big one for me from Resident Evil. Iron Man VR, haven't beat that yet. Marvel Spider-Man, haven't touched it. Metal Gear Solid 5, Ground Zeroes, and 5 of Phantom Pain. I need to play through those. Minecraft. Man, that's everything up. Mortal Blitz Combat Arena, that was like free or cheap. It's a VR online shooter. Moss, I beat that recently on VR. No Man's Sky, haven't beat that. Discover planets and stuff in VR. Observation, you're out in space, and I don't know, it's kind of like a movie-like game. I always thought it looked interesting, but you know what, I haven't really touched it. Paper Beast, another free game, don't know much about. Persona 5, popular Japanese RPG, haven't touched it, but I wanted to have it. Purehead Arcade, awesome arcade game for the VR. Basically, like, it has whack-a-mole and, basketball, toss, and like arcade games like that. Pinball, FX2, VR pinball, pistol whipped, kind of like Beat Saber, except for you're shooting people instead of slicing boxes. Pixel Ripped, 1989 is like a game where you're playing a game inside of a game. So the controller turns into like a Game Boy, basically, like some of the settings, like for instance, you're in a classroom and there's the teacher and there's the other kids and you're playing the Game Boy in the classroom and you have to distract the teacher while you're also trying to beat the level on the controller. Pixel Ripped 1995 was a futuristic more version of this Pixel Ripped, where it brought on kind of consoles like the Super Nintendo, the Sega Genesis, and the Nintendo 64. And it's kind of like a journey back in time. And I love those games. And I know I beat the 1995 one. I don't remember if I beat the 1989 one. Sometimes I need to play through those and record it just so people can see them, because those are awesome games. PlayerUnknown's Battleground. I downloaded it when I had PlayStation Plus or whatever the service is, and I don't actually own that, but Ratchet and Clank was free. Rec Room. Red Dead Redemption 2, haven't touched it. Need to, though. You know, it's like the Grand Theft Auto Western. Resident Evil 3, I need to finish beating that. I played into that quite a ways. Resident Evil 7, an awesome game, and I'm looking forward to The Village, which I have the demo over here. Resistance is an online game that came with Resident Evil 3. But, yeah, I didn't realize that Village comes out tomorrow, so hopefully I'm going to get that tomorrow evening or something. If Walmart gets it in stock, I'll go pick it up probably. It's too tempting not to. But Resident Evil 7, I liked it. It has VR capabilities, and it's one of the best looking games on the PSVR. Resident Evil 5 is multiplayer. I never really played it all the way through or anything, but I thought it would be cool to play it with somebody else. And, you know, 5 and 6 are kind of known as the worst. There's others too. A lot of people don't like 7. They don't like the new ones, but anyway, Resident Evil, the original one. The Remastered. I bought this because I wanted to stream it. So I thought that would be cool. Res Infinite's PSVR, it was free. Separation, I beat through that game on the channel, the puzzle game for the PSVR. Shadow of the Tomb Raider, it's the second new Tomb Raider game that came out. Shenmue, the original, and Shenmue 2, both HD remasters, and Shenmue 3, which I beat on the channel. I don't remember if I beat the original one when it came out. I think that I do. I know I beat the second one and I beat the third one, but I need to play through these again soon. Skyrim Vr, awesome. I've never beaten Skyrim, but I should beat it in VR sometime. Sports Bar VR Hangout, pretty cool. You play darts, pool, stuff like that. You play online with other people. I need to record that sometime. Spyro, Trilogy, Remastered. Star Trek Bridge Crew, I just picked this one up. It's just another VR game, but I've heard it is kind of fun. Even if you're not a Star Trek fan, you're basically on the Falcon or whatever. You're on the airship, and you all have to work together to like fly it, and you have to press buttons and controls and stuff, and so it's supposed to be pretty cool. Static, haven't beat this. I played it on here. I got to a hard part. I need to finish that. Street Fighter 5. Streets of Rage 4, awesome beat 'em up game. Me and my cousin got that. We played it online and we beat it. But there's a lot to unlock and stuff. I should play through that some more. Super Hot VR. Pretty awesome game. I've got some footage of it on here, I think. You gotta shoot the enemies, and when you move, they move. You can dodge bullets and stuff. Telefrag VR is another online shooter. It was either cheap or free. Tetris Effect. There's a Tetris VR game, which I need to beat, and that's awesome. The Evil Within 2 horror game. Last Guardian, I need to beat that. Was one of the earlier popular PS4 games where you're with this giant creature, and it's kind of like a puzzle game. You're just trying to figure out where to go and what to do, and this creature helps you, and you're both kind of like lost together. The Last of Us Part 2, I don't know anything about The Last of Us 1 or 2, but I know they're supposed to be great PlayStation games, so I picked them up. So I have the remastered first one and the second one. Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, awesome VR game. The Witness was free, don't know much about it. Thumper was free. It has PSVR capabilities. I've recorded a little bit of that. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 remastered, some of my favorite games. Trevor Saves the Universe, I beat that not long ago, PSVR. Uncharted 4, never played any of the Uncharted games, but I have them all. I have the collection and the fourth one. So sometime I'll have to play them. Until Dawn, I'd like to play that pretty soon. I was thinking about that. It's another game, kind of like Detroit Become Human, where you make choices, and it's kind of like a movie game. And you have these characters, and you can choose different paths. But this is like a horror game, where there's like a killer, and you kind of choose what happens with these people. Until Dawn, Rush of Blood for the PSVR. Awesome game. I haven't beat that yet either. But you're basically on a roller coaster shooting. You're shooting at clowns and monsters, and it's spooky, and it's awesome. It's one of the original great PSVR games. Until You Fall, I've recorded a little bit of this on here. I haven't beat it. It's a PSVR game where you use the sword and stuff. Kind of hard to explain, but it looks really cool. It's a neat game. Vacation Simulator, made from the same people of Job Simulator. And another funny game. This was more of like an expansion on it. There's a lot more that you could do. I haven't beat this, and that's another game I'll have to show and beat sometime. Vader, Immortal Episode 1, 2, and 3. I went through all those. They were really short. Wipeout Omega Collection is a Wipeout racing game, futuristic racing. It's also in VR, so that's basically what I have. And I have a lot of the physical copies of these, but I also have, a lot of these are digital, the PSVR ones. A lot of them don't have physical releases. But that's it. I'd probably say half of these I have in physical. You can see if they're physical or not if they have if they have the disc by them. If they don't have the disc, then they were digital, and I can just click them and play them. But if they have the disc, like Batman, I have to put it in. So that's what I have so far, and I'm going to get more. So hopefully Resident Evil 8 tomorrow, maybe. But I'm also just showing this, so if anybody's interested in a game that I haven't played, that you haven't played, that you haven't seen, that you would like me to try, that you would like to see, then let me know, and I'll play that. Give me some direction with what you would like to see. Some of these I do have in the pawn shop, unfortunately, some of them, and there may be more, but so it'll also depend on whether I have them or not, but eventually, I'm going to get them all back, but whatever, I have most of them now, so, but that's that, and I've got a ton of Switch games, a ton of Xbox One games. I'd like to show all those too, but since I'm streaming on the PS4 a lot, I thought I would share that, so. And there's a lot more PSVR games that are coming out that I'm looking forward to, but right now Resident Evil 8 was one of the major PS4 games that I've been looking forward to, so that's that. I can actually delete that demo. Resident Evil 8. I won't need that. So I'll go ahead and get rid of that. And yeah, I had to get a lot of extra space. I probably got like 6 terabytes or something for game space. I had to buy like a 4 terabyte external hard drive. Kept running out of space, so now I'm pretty good for a little while on space, but that's what I got.